Fame has a strange way of freezing people in time. On screen, they remain young, powerful, and full of motion, even as real life keeps moving forward. Today, that illusion was broken. Jayne Trcka, Hollywood actress, fitness icon, and a woman whose presence defined a specific era of strength and confidence, has passed away at the age of 62. For many, her name immediately brings back memories of a time when muscles on a woman were still considered rebellious, when fitness was becoming a movement rather than a trend, and when Hollywood was slowly learning to accept that femininity and physical power could exist together. Her death has left fans, fellow actors, and the fitness community in quiet shock, not because she lived a loud or scandal-filled life, but because she represented endurance. Jayne Trcka was someone people assumed would always be around. Strong, disciplined, unbreakable, but behind the strength was a human story that deserves to be told properly. Jayne Trcka's rise wasn't accidental, and it certainly wasn't easy. Born in an era where Hollywood beauty standards were narrow and unforgiving, she carved out space for herself through sheer will. While many actresses were pushed towards softness and fragility, Jayne chose power. She trained relentlessly, not to fit into a mold, but to reshape it. Her physique became her signature, not as a gimmick, but as a statement. When Jayne appeared on screen, she commanded attention without asking for it. There was an intensity in her presence that couldn't be faked. Directors noticed it, casting agents noticed it, and audiences felt it. She wasn't just acting strong roles, she embodied them. At a time when muscular women were often sidelined or reduced to novelty, Jayne Trcka refused to be minimized. She balanced her fitness career with acting roles that showcased not just her body, but her discipline and mental toughness. That balance is what made her unique. She wasn't a fitness model trying to act. She was a performer who understood her body as an instrument. And here's something worth pausing on: Jayne Trcka didn't chase fame the way many do today. She built credibility first. That alone sets her apart. If you're still watching at this point, ask yourself this: how many public figures today could disappear from the spotlight for years and still be remembered with this level of respect? Jayne's fitness journey wasn't about vanity. Those close to her often described training as her form of meditation. In an industry obsessed with appearance, she treated fitness as a lifelong discipline. Her routines weren't designed for cameras, they were designed for consistency. That mindset turned her into a role model for women who were tired of being told to shrink themselves. She inspired an entire generation to see strength as something beautiful rather than threatening. And she did it quietly. No viral rants, no manufactured controversy, just work. Hollywood, of course, has a complicated relationship with women who don't fit easily into boxes. Jayne Trcka experienced that firsthand. While her look opened doors, it also closed others. There were roles she was never offered because she didn't match the traditional idea of leading lady. Instead of fighting that reality publicly, she adapted. She took roles that aligned with her values and expanded her presence beyond acting. This is where her legacy deepens. Jayne became a bridge between two worlds, entertainment and fitness, long before influencers and crossover branding became common. She appeared in magazines, fitness features, and training programs, always emphasizing discipline over shortcuts. She never sold false promises, no miracle transformations, no overnight success stories. She spoke honestly about aging, about maintaining strength over decades, and about respecting the body rather than punishing it. And now, her passing forces a difficult realization. Even the strongest bodies are temporary. As news of her death spread, reactions poured in, not loud, not chaotic, but sincere. Fans shared old photos, remembered how seeing Jayne for the first time changed their perception of what women could look like. Fellow athletes and actors spoke about her professionalism, her kindness on set, and her refusal to let ego take over. What's striking is how consistent the memories are. Strong, yes, but also grounded, focused, private. Jayne Trcka never chased the spotlight when it wasn't serving her. That's rare. Let's talk about the age factor for a moment, because it matters. 62 is an age where many public figures fade quietly from relevance, especially in Hollywood. But Jayne's influence never truly disappeared, it simply shifted. Younger generations discovered her work through archives, interviews, and shared clips, often surprised that someone so ahead of her time existed decades earlier. This is one of those moments where history feels closer than we expect. If you're finding yourself unexpectedly emotional right now, you're not alone. Loss has a way of reminding us that icons are still human. That discipline doesn't make someone immune to mortality. that strength doesn't mean invincibility. And maybe that's the most powerful lesson Jayne Trcka leaves behind. She showed that strength is not about defying time forever, it's about meeting time with dignity. In an era obsessed with extremes, Jayne's life tells a quieter story, a story about consistency, about showing up even when applause fades, about building a legacy that doesn't depend on constant visibility. Think about how different that is from today's fame cycle. Before we go further, let me ask you something. When was the last time a public figure's death made you reflect on your own idea of strength? Jayne Trcka's journey also highlights something Hollywood rarely admits: success doesn't always look the same for everyone. Some people burn brightly and briefly. Others, like Jayne, build slow, burning influence that lasts longer than trends. She didn't reinvent herself every year, she refined herself. That's why her passing feels heavier than headlines suggest. It's not just the loss of an actress or a fitness icon. It's the loss of a mindset, one that valued longevity over hype. As details surrounding her death remain respectfully private, one thing is clear. Jayne Trcka lived on her own terms. She trained on her own schedule. She chose her projects carefully. She protected her personal life fiercely. In a world that constantly demands access, that choice alone is powerful. Her legacy now belongs to the people she inspired. To the women who stepped into gyms without fear because they saw someone like Jayne owning her space. To the performers who realized that authenticity matters more than approval. And to the viewers who are just now learning her name and wondering how they missed her before. That's the strange thing about true influence. It doesn't always announce itself. As we reflect on Jayne Trcka's life, there's an uncomfortable truth we have to acknowledge. Hollywood often celebrates people more loudly in death than it did in life. But Jayne didn't need constant praise to validate her journey. She knew who she was. That confidence, quiet, earned, and unwavering, is what made her unforgettable. Even beyond the screen and the gym, Jayne Trcka had a way of connecting with people that didn't rely on spectacle. She was approachable yet inspiring. Those who met her often described her as intensely present, someone who listened fully, who shared wisdom without preaching, and who celebrated effort over talent alone. In a culture obsessed with overnight success and flashy personalities, that groundedness is rare. Her passing also opens a conversation about how we remember icons. Too often, we reduce lives to roles, appearances, or records, but Jayne's story reminds us that influence is layered. It's in the quiet encouragement, the consistency, the refusal to compromise values, and the courage to be unapologetically oneself. For every fan, young athlete, or aspiring actress who saw her, Jayne Trcka remains a symbol of strength, not just of the body, but of character. Jayne Trcka's life also teaches us something crucial about resilience. Fame, fitness, and Hollywood's pressures can break even the strongest, but she endured, shaping her path with patience and purpose. She didn't measure success by awards or headlines. She measured it by impact, by the lives she quietly touched, and by the standards she set for herself. In remembering Jayne, it's worth asking, how can we carry a fraction of that discipline, that integrity, into our own lives? Her legacy isn't just in films or photographs, it's in the idea that strength, authenticity, and dedication can coexist beautifully. For all those inspired by her journey, Jayne Trcka will forever remain a standard bearer, reminding us that true power is timeless. If you're still here, still listening, take this moment as more than just news. Let it be a reminder. Strength isn't just physical, fame isn't permanent, and legacy is built in the choices no one applauds. Jayne Trcka may be gone, but the standard she set remains. This has been Power and Fame Files, where we don't just talk about names, but the weight they carry. Rest in strength, Jayne Trcka.